Welcome. This is about lessening the load with lesson magic. That was actually a phrase that when we were at the Arizona Language Association last year, the grad student who was assisting me with the booth said kind of by accident, lessen the load. And I said, that's a pun. And so it sort of became a tagline. The reason I created Lesson Magic was I wanted to lessen the load for my own teaching. It took me so long to find useful resources for my classes and then develop activities around them. I teach Spanish, but I have developed the product in English, Spanish, and French because the kinds of resources that I was finding online sometimes were not authentic or were not super comprehensible for students, or they didn't combine the vocabulary, grammar, and culture in the same way that it is in the unit. And so it made it harder for me to make the resources understandable and useful for students. So I created this search that allows you to put in your topics that are in your lesson. And then you don't have to put in all three, but it combines your culture with your language features or your vocabulary with your language features. And then you can find things that are related to what you have to teach, but are still comprehensible to the students and help reinforce their vocabulary. So I'm going to be demonstrating the French search. And for example, if you put in a topic like childhood, enfance, it works well with l'imparfait. And there's really a couple of different types of results that you get. The first one is real world resources. This is sort of the AI mode, you don't know what you're going to get. But the good thing about that is it's actual pages that come up online in French that combine enfance with the different forms of like était or faisait, like things that come up in the imparfait. Because if you wanted to just search for an explanation of the imparfait with all the verb endings, you could just search for that on Google and it would come up. But the hard part is finding resources sometimes that are useful for the students that are about your topic that are using those verbs or that grammar that are about your vocabulary or culture topic. And you can also add FLE if you want to make sure that it's things that are specifically for French as a second language or as a foreign language. But if you don't, you get more things that are developed for speakers of the language by speakers of the language. Like, what was Albert Einstein like during his childhood, right? This is not something that was necessarily developed for learners, but it is related to the topic of enfance and uses the imparfait. So it doesn't search for the word imparfait, it searches for était, for example, or, il était une fois, and so there, not everything is going to be perfect, but these are things that might help you more so than just Googling imparfait. And then it's paired with, for some of the topics, they don't all come up in search yet. So that's something that I want to add more as I go along. But there are videos here and readings and infographics that relate to the topics that you put, as well as free vocabulary lessons from Français Interactif, an open educational resource. And then these are the ones I made. The only thing that costs money are the ones in the purple box. Sometimes they come directly up if it's a topic that happens to match exactly. Like, for example, if I do another search, sorry, my Zoom header is in the way here. For example, if I put colors, les couleurs, there is a reading about les couleurs et la personnalité where I've taken that reading. Yes, it comes up in the search, but I've taken that reading and I've created a whole lesson around it where even beginning learners are able to look through and find the cognate words that describe personality to show kind of what energy you project by wearing different colors or what your energy is. So it's kind of pseudoscience, but it's kind of fun because you're able to use that at a beginning level and they're able to read an actual article that is in French. They just kind of have to look at the keywords and the cognates. And so it incorporates strategies about cognates. And these lessons here, you can purchase them individually on Teachers Pay Teachers. You can subscribe to all of them for French. I don't have as many for French right now as I do for Spanish, but I'm adding more. If you put in the promotion code summer 24, it takes your total to $0. So Yeah, so you can actually get a free month. You do have to put in your information, so it will renew. Just be aware of that after the first month, but you can also cancel. I mean, it's not, there's no there's no commitment here. But just remember to put in summer 24 so that it doesn't charge you for that first month. You're not committing to a year or anything like that. And then just going back to the results, once you have the premium or unlimited product, I actually just renamed it unlimited, so I have to fix that. But once you have that product, then you basically get access to all of these Google Slides. You have a folder you can browse. They also come up in the search engine results. And then all of these, you can basically just open them up in class, and you can edit them, of course, but you can just open them up in class and use them for your activities. Some of these are formatted better for PowerPoint. Others are formatted better for Google Slides. You can try downloading it as a PowerPoint and see which you prefer. But, it basically has all of the things structured and sequenced, turn to a partner, review, so that you are, and then this one here, if you go into slideshow, you can see it actually doesn't just have individual words. It also has them add the phrases they use to agreeing and disagreeing. So they're building in all of these things to their, so it helps lessen the load, right? Because you're able to find resources more efficiently, which is the tool that I needed as a language teacher. I've taught Spanish since 2006. And I've also helped out with conversation groups for French. I brought a board game one time to a group, and we played it, and I explained it in French. We played it in French, and I thought, how do I get people interacting like this in a class every day, right? Without having to buy a copy of the board game for every group in the class, right? So what are the kinds of things you could use for a French club or for a class where you really want to get them focused on speaking, but you still have to follow your chapter topics or your unit topics? Would also be useful for tutoring if you have tutors that you're trying to coach them to use the language more with the students rather than just answer their questions. What's the difference between the passé composé and the imparfait? Well, I can explain it to you, but so can Google, right? So can YouTube. What value can we add that really gets them speaking, that gets them interacting with readings, gives them structured activities to sort of break down that reading so that they're able to do a better job comprehending it or understanding what the goal is rather than trying to translate every word, especially now with AI and with Google Translate. Oftentimes it's so hard because you give them a reading and they just want to put up their phone to it, right? And get the translation. Absolutely. But what I'm trying to do is structure the activities in such a way that whether you're teaching in person or online, they're able to do each chunk of the task, and they don't necessarily have to just get frustrated and rely on that AI to do it for them.
Okay. Hey, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm gonna drop in the chat the link to that product. It's so the page is teachingsolved.com. The French search is teachingsolved.com/French. And it's called Lesson Magic. And the company is called Teaching Solved. And then that code to put in is for the free month is summer 24.
Summer 24. Okay.
And if you do a search and you click on one of the lesson plans that comes up, it actually does have that code there, but it doesn't have it. It doesn't let me put it right on the purchase page. So that's why.
That's it.
Any questions?
No, not for now. Thank you. Thank